How's everyone doing? Welcome to the final episode of After the After Hours with your boy TraderPrad. The final day of this week is tomorrow going to be a free fall Friday. Now get ready for tomorrow. Powell going on the microphone. Powell going on the microphone again. Get ready for tomorrow. So I do have a watch list ready, but if you guys are ready, hit that like and subscribe. Hit that like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all the love. Thank you guys for all the support. This is your boy TraderPrad. TraderPrad. But if you guys are ready for this show to get started, why don't we dive into the full screen and hit that like and subscribe. Yo, what's up, people? How we doing? Welcome back to another episode. It's your boy TraderPrad, and ooh, that is bright. So let's get rid of that screen and show you guys what I'm looking at on the market today. My day not so good. Gave back about 70% or a little bit less than 70% of what I made yesterday. So not the greatest day, but if you ask me, I kind of I broke some rules. But I also didn't go crazy, right? I didn't go too crazy all over the place, which is in a way a victory in itself, if you ask me. But I did get tilted a bit today, so after a while I just stopped trading, and then I was watching some SMB videos. So I'm starting to reconsider some questions I'm asking myself as to what is the perfect trading environment for me, because seems like the one I'm at currently is if it's putting me more on tilt on more days than it technically shouldn't, then that might not be the right environment for me to be in, right? I need to figure out a completely different environment for me to succeed, because I just can't seem to crack that at the current environment I'm in. So might need to figure out something else on that aspect. But overall, if I'm looking at my trades, yeah, I did have a red day, but I'm not too worried about my overall trading over here, because I know where the mistakes came from. I know exactly where the mistakes came from. I know how to fix them, and I'm making an active effort towards fixing that. So I'm not worried about that at all. Here are a couple of my trades on the day, all of my trades on the day. Let's start with UPST, my only real winner, I guess. UPST reported earnings, launched up to the north side. If you guys remember, I said there's a zone from 86 to 89 to keep an eye out for. for. Guess what? It rejected right off of that zone. Picture perfectly rejected off of that zone if you were watching my stream last night, and basically sold off of that area right off the open. So focusing on that, I figured there's a potential chance to look short on this name on a flip back through VWAP for a move back into earnings VWAP or so, which was somewhere around, I guess at that point earnings VWAP was at $85, but I was expecting, you know, a little bit of a deeper pullback into $80 or so. Being short 86 was never really came into play. Took my profits and I got stopped out on that trade, walked away. I think I was trailing 5-minute bar highs or 2-minute bar highs, I can't remember, and the trail triggered, so only made about $1 per share. Looks like at the end of the day though, I would have actually lost on that trade had I not taken that stop on that move. A little extended off the open. If you look at how the stock moved from $21 to $25 without any really news that I found. ATR is $1. The stock made a $5 move, so I'm thinking, okay, this is a little crazy. Potentially could give you a good short opportunity, so I took the 2-minute bar breakdown short. Sadly, no follow through on every single dip into VWAP. The stock basically bounces off of VWAP, so without even giving it to my stop all the way at the high day, I just said I'm going to cut the trade and walk away from it, and looks like I made the right decision because still very strong. Right around this area, it should have started to break down and make its move back into $22 or so, but nope, up 20% on the day. Ridiculously strong. I think that's a drone company. I didn't find any news on it, but they were up monstrous today. I also didn't see other drone companies being up on the day, so I was pretty surprised why was doing the way it was, or moving the way it was moving. AMC, Goldman Sachs announced that they have a stake in AMC now, 20 million shares or something. So a decent enough position for AMC or in AMC for Goldman Sachs. So off of that catalyst, I took the high day breakout. There was a little bit of a move to the upside, but not much follow through. I should have taken the 2-minute bar breakdown as a stop also, I guess, but I gave it a little bit of room. I let my stop trick on this position, and then once the stop triggered, I just said, you know what, I don't care about this trade anymore. However, if you were watching for it, volume died off, but buying continued to hold the position higher and gave you a very tight risk to reward long if you were looking for it. You know, not a lot of volume was actually taking place, so I'm not sure how much liquidity was there for you to partake in, but it gave you a long there if you were interested in it. XLO, late day reclaiming VWAP after holding this pre-market low area. Late day reclaiming VWAP, and then my alerts started triggering saying that the stock is actually breaking high a day. This is a setup where I've seen a lot of times where the stock goes into pre-market highs and then maybe fails or actually starts to squeeze much higher than pre-market highs as it stops into pre-market highs, or the shorts above in these pre-market high areas are also getting blown out and the stock makes an insane rally. So this is a pattern that I've seen a lot. I've also back tested it, so it took that long. Sadly, no follow through. Breaks that previous swing low, especially after breaking the high day. So breaks the high day and then breaks the high day again, but not able to hold the previous swing low where it kind of makes a rally from. So that is, to me, dead trade, and I walked away from it. Would have been nice to see that one become a winner. AIFF, no real setup here. Yesterday the stock had a setup where it kind of broke high a day off the open and pulled back and gave you a second chance long, so I was kind of anticipating a second chance long over here, but yeah, no real setup, I guess. I was expecting VWAP to hold, but I didn't really give it to VWAP for the stop either. Just kind of randomly got in and gave it a random risk level to it, arbitrary risk level to it. You can see how previous wicks are not even triggered and I'm getting stopped out. So just a random bullshit trade. I didn't even have size on it. I just took it to just have something on the board. That's it. Could have easily not had that trade, right? Could have easily not had that. GILD. Felt like this was the money trade. Took the high day breakout, but used the improper stop. I just put the stop under 102, so that trigger stop should have been under 101.50 or so. And that would have given me a good $2 move to the upside. Later on in the day, I tried to look for a short. Looks like a bouncy ball breakdown if you actually take a look at it. Lower high, and the same low right around VWAP, a nice flat low. I took that breakdown, but that breakdown didn't have too much follow through, so I just completely jumped out of that trade. Later on, it sets up for that breakdown again, where I actually get in, but not much follow through. But what did the stock do? It pounces back, and then it goes right back into that low. So I'm expecting the stock to not reclaim this high, and if it does, then there is no more short. So I move my stop lower, and what does the stock do? It actually goes into that area, goes back into VWAP, retests VWAP, and then actually breaks down and goes into my 101 target. So I should have never moved my stop. I guess my stop was 103.50. I was risking about 50 cents, and I would have gotten my how much was it, $1 per share, $2 move that I was looking for on this trade. So it did end up going all the way into 101, 102 for me to play with. Sadly, not there to take advantage when it's actually going, huh, Prad? CVS. This one was anticipating a second chance long, so let me show you guys what I'm talking about. CVS was looking for the higher day to hold and be respected after it broke out from that. So this is the higher day. Let me quickly zoom in on that chart a bit. This is the high day. You can see how the stock broke the high day with a good range explosion and volume explosion at the same time. However, it immediately got right back down and kind of played back and forth, and then had a weak breakout over here. I guess I should have read this area a little bit more, and then that would have kept me away from anticipating a long on that pullback. So after the stock actually breaks the higher day, pulls back into higher day, it bounces on that 1 minute candle, but according to the S&B Capital setup entry, which is you're supposed to wait for the previous candle high to break, which I didn't wait. I anticipated and I got in a little bit early, and the high never breaks, and that means you never really have a trigger to enter long, and you would have missed out on a little bit of a loss on this trade. Also, one thing I didn't do is stick to my stop. I let the trade actually go a little bit lower than where I should have actually let it. So I gave it a 50-cent risk. Instead, it should have been like a 10-cent risk based on the trade that I was looking for. Actually, the trade I was looking for should not even have an entry to begin with, but I took the entry, gave it a 50-cent risk, and I took a little bit of a loss on this. Completely avoidable. Something that was not needed at all. And last but not least, where's my other trade? VRT was looking for a flip above VWAP. AI name, reported earnings, was looking for a flip above VWAP to the long side. It looked like it had some momentum coming through, but then the double topped kind of in 1 minute, and then just got stuffed right back to the downside and triggered my stop. This was the most risk on the day that I put on a stock, and sadly one full risk unit being triggered on this name. However, the actual setup that S&B Capital Radar points out is the short and not the long. However, I took the long because I thought that was the trade. Apparently the short was the trade and not the long. So need to do a little bit more study on the setup and as to why the long was not the trade and why is short the trade. I'll need to figure it out. But at the end of the day, still a setup that I like very much and going to try and keep learning. Fuck them, I've been using them for 8 years and I'm a degen at heart. Hear me, I've had dozens of magical margin calls before and they always come after. What is this guy talking about? Oh, he's talking about Robinhood. Robinhood, fuck them. I've had them for 8 years and and I'm a DJ, but hear me out. I've had dozens of margins calls before, and that has always come after an account deficient day. Monday after tariffs, I was liquidated for almost 15k, all gone, and no warning. Is this like a spam one of those bot replies? You know, follow this guy, bot replies. I don't know what that reply is supposed to be, or if they're expecting me to reply in some statement. Anyways, let's talk about the stocks that we actually care about tomorrow and see if we can make that sweet cheddar cheese, baby. So some names actually reporting earnings tomorrow, or tonight, sorry. Some good names reporting earnings tonight and also tomorrow pre-market. Ooh, Coinbase tomorrow after hours, DraftKings, Twilio, Airbnb. Board is still very active. We love it. Reddit, AppLovin, Robinhood, Dutch Bros, Cisco. I kind of threw it in there. MGM, you might want to take a look at how the chart is for MGM and then throw in the chart too if you want. And if MGM is not above that area, I'm really not gonna. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to throw it on the watch list now. MGM reported today after hours, so that means you go under Cisco. MGM. And tomorrow, Datadog, DE, Crocs, Pagaya, Sony. I think PGY just had a short report. Maybe PGY was the one, maybe not. SMCI, Upstart, CVS, VRT, Shopify, and a bunch of names that reported last week. So my watch list is extremely big. So we're gonna have to run through some of the earnings names so we don't spend too long on that. So let's take a good look at these reports and kind of skim through these reports really quickly. Let's take a look at Reddit coming up with 427.71 versus 405 million, beat on revenue. 36 cents versus 25 cents, beat on EPS, up 71% year over year. Daily active user up 39%. US daily actives decline on a quarter to quarter basis from 48.2 to 48 million. Weekly active users total to nearly 380 million in the quarter. The daily active number appears to be weighing on shares. In the letter to shareholders, Reddit said it experienced some volatility with Google search triggered by periodic algorithm change. What happened wasn't unusual. Referrals from search fluctuates from time to time, and they primarily affect logged out users. Our teams have navigated numerous algorithm updates and did an excellent job adapting to these latest changes effectively. Reddit generated operating cash flow of 90 million and free cash flow of 89.2 million in the quarter. Ended the quarter with 1.8 billion in cash and equivalents. Reddit expects first quarter revenue to be in the range of 360 to 370 versus 358. So bottom line is above estimate. Company sees first quarter revenue to be 80 to 90 million. Adjusted EBITDA to be 80 to 90 million. Executives will further discuss on the conference call at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However, the stock dropped in the after hours, so not sure why exactly the stock is behaving the way it is, but boy oh boy, a little bit of a downside move on what seems to be a banger report. You're growing 71% year over year on revenue aspects. You're beating EPS, you're beating revenue, you're guiding higher, so I'm not really sure why the stock is going down. Okay, even if you want to say daily active users, if you want to go that route, it's up 39% year over year worldwide. However, US side might have declined by what, 0.2? Oh, big fucking deal, right? So it's kind of crazy if you ask me that the stock is being rejected the way it is. However, I do remember that their PE is a little expensive. So forward PE is 109. The stock trades around $200. The IPO at around $50. So obviously one of the most successful IPOs. And talking about IPOs, we have a good IPO reporting tomorrow. So stay tuned, because we're going to be learning more about that stock also. Coming back to Reddit, I mean, that's a monster monster move to the downside that I kind of just deny for the stock to say that it belongs here. If you actually take a look at where my two white lines are and go back to the daily chart, that was exactly the previous all-time high from where the stock broke out into, or broke out from. So the previous all-time high, we broke out from there and kind of rallied into this 230 area, and now going right back into that 180 to $200 pocket. It'll be very interesting to see how the stock behaves in this zone. We have, I guess you could say, today's VWAP, but today's VWAP technically would be somewhere much higher. But today's VWAP ending in the after hours around $201 or so. Earnings VWAP is all the way down here because of the amount of time the stock has spent after its initial flush. I'll be surprised to see if this whole down move is just because of that US daily active users, or maybe the conference call, which was supposed to kickstart at 5 o'clock. You can see how that brought in a little bit of volume and a move back to the upside. So confused on how the stock is reacting to the report. Pre-market will be a good indicator as to what we might have to do with this position. Ideally, I'd like to see the stock flush off the open and then set up for a beautiful reversal for the long side through VWAP on Reddit, somewhere for the fashionably late scalp, or maybe the rubber band scalp, or the backside scalp. You know, I'm thinking of some good possible SMB style entries that I can apply to Reddit if it goes lower off the open in the pre-market and off the open tomorrow. You can see last month's low, January low, is around $156. I'm not saying that will come into play, but if it does, I don't think there's a short that you really want to go for. That also happens to be where exactly previous earnings VWAP is ending at. The previous earnings VWAP is ending right around last month's low. That's pretty crazy how that happens, huh? That's actually wonderful how that happens. So watching how the stock behaves in the pre-market, pretty high priority, obviously, very high priority. So far, bias is bullish. Bias bullish. All right, next stock, AppLovin. Ooh, big move on the north side, now almost into $500. And if I remember correctly, AppLovin on its previous earnings report made a monster move and then you know, held. You can see how these earnings anchored VWAPs are I can kind of delete them now, I guess, because I have an automatic ER mapper, so I don't really need that anymore. Also, I'm gonna change my 5-day moving average to a constant yellow instead, because I keep getting confused. Okay, ER previous earnings anchored VWAP 325, and you can see how on every single dip the stock has been basically holding previous earnings anchored VWAP. That right there is a wonderful spot to look long. And then today's earnings report takes the stock from what, 380 to 500. Wow. All right, what's going on with AppLovin? Let's go find out. I am McLovin. Forward PE 45, current PE 115. Monster move to the north side. What is the earnings report saying? Earnings report saying 1.37 compared to 1.26. We got 1.37 versus 1.25. We got 44% year over year. App revenue fell by 1% year over year, however. Cash flow operations came in at 701 million. Cash flow came in at 695 million. AppLovin ended in the quarter with 741.4 million. Over the last few years, our team has achieved extraordinary things. We've built an advertising model. Okay, blah 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 blah. AppLovin first quarter revenue to be in the range of 1.36 to 1.39 versus 1.32. Also guiding higher like Reddit, 855 to 885 million for the first quarter adjusted EBITDA. Okay, management will hold a conference call, and at the time of the report, wow, what the hell is this? 700% over 1 year period heading into the print. The stock is up 19.6% at the time of the report. So 700% up year over year. What? I mean, come on, guys. That's insane. So 700% obviously if the stock is at $500. The stock was at $45 recently. Wow. That's absolutely nuts. So, I mean, what do they even do? Apparently they help you create advertisements. You better be using AI of some sorts, because if you don't, I don't understand exactly how you're able to do things like this with your report. I mean, that is nuts. Look at this. 2024, you could have had the stock at $36, $40, and now you're watching it at $400, $500. Like, that is nuts. I'm not saying short, but wouldn't you think that people will be looking to take profits on this name? That is crazy. That is absolutely. I'm a little shocked. I'm a little shocked. They are growing, however, right? They're growing, and they make $1 per quarter, or sorry, $1.30 per quarter. So they print money. They're not losing money. They print money. They got a pretty expensive PE, but we've seen more expensive PE ratios. Okay volume also. 4 million shares for a $400 name, which is soon to be a $500 name. I guess you know, it's decent liquidity, but expect spread to be 50 cents to $1 at some random points. So that's going to be something to keep an eye out for. At the moment, nice and even number. 455 is the earnings anchored VWAP. So watching how 455 plays on any sort of a dip to the downside. Very, very you know, monster move over here. But currently on the dips, I am biased bullish, but on the pops, I am more biased inclined to the bearish side. But maybe it's our job to just put the biases aside and think about how the setups can potentially set up tomorrow. So doing some homework on how the stock previously set up on its earnings move last, because it had a very similar earnings blast off, right? 170 into 240. It had a very similar earnings blast off, and I wouldn't be surprised if it had a similar reactionary day tomorrow, and then the next day after, and then the next day after, and so on. So we'll be watching to see exactly how the stock sets up. I also really quick want to go over here and take a look at what their financials look like really quickly. I mean, look at that. All right. So pretty monster move over here, man. Pretty monster move over here so far. App Lovin'. What a name. I love the name too. App Lovin', Mech Lovin'. So pre-market, we'll see if the stock actually manages to get above 500. If it does get above 500, then the question is, does it hold above 500 on dips after the open? Does 500 have support? But if the stock is struggling around 500 in pre-market, dips into 455 tomorrow off the open, and bounces off of 455, I think looking long from there will for sure be a pretty high priority trade for myself at the very least. And then we'll see if the stock can go back into 500 or you know, maybe at least make a little bit of a move back into this 500 after hours zone that we just marked up. So monster move for sure, a high priority name for tomorrow. Next up on the watch list is Robinhood. Robinhood making a nice move to the after hours upside pop, continuing its recent rally. So monster breakout and monster rally on Robinhood. I think Charles Schwab recently announced that they'll be joining the I can technically delete this, I guess. Recently announced that they'll be joining the 24-hour trading system that Robinhood and IBKR and a bunch of other companies have already got going. So just shows you that you know, more adoption of the 24-hour markets, which is the blue ocean market, and then eventually potentially not potentially, we already know it's happening, both of them are going to get merged, and you just have stocks trading 24 hours itself, like the futures market, at which point your boy will not get no sleep. So we'll see how that ends up happening. But Robinhood over here, nice pop in the after hours off its earnings report. So let's quickly read the report and check out if there's any good setups for us to keep an eye out for. Robinhood 1 billion, up 115%. Okay. Company reported 1.01 billion, beating consensus estimates. 43% per share were being reported. Transaction-based revenue 672 million, up 200%. Cryptocurrency up 700%. Options revenue up 83%. Equities revenue up 144%. Wow. Okay, Robinhood net deposits hit record 16 billion in the fourth quarter. Crypto notional volumes were up more than 400% year over year. This is not good news for Coinbase. None of this is good news for Coinbase. This is probably where all the Coinbase's volume and money is going away from and going into Robinhood. The company said its Robinhood Gold subscribers were up 86% year over year. Adjusted EBITDA up 300%. Okay, I mean, all numbers are looking great. Company ended the quarter 25.2 million funded customers, up 8% year over year, and 26.2 million investment accounts, up 10% year over year. For the full fiscal year, Robinhood up 58% year over year. Okay. Had a full year of 1.5, up from a loss of 61 cents per share from same period last year. So that's also pretty good. Turnaround story. The company said it's not providing guidance for 2025. Oh, they're pulling an Apple. Adjusted operating expenses and SBC, what is that? Is 2.2 billion to 2.1 billion for 2025. Expense plan includes growth investments in new products, international expansion, and increasing efficiency, probably to Canada. And adjusting operating expenses does not include costs related to acquisitions of Trade PMR or Bitstamp. The company said it expects the acquisition of Bitstamp to close in the first half of 2025. I didn't even know that they were buying out Bitstamp. Okay. So Robinhood making leaps and bounds to the north side. New 52-week high. I wouldn't say all-time high yet. But if you bought this stock around IPO times, you are now back in the money, baby. You are now back in profits, back in the money, and you are enjoying the current ride to the north side. So overall, bullish, right? Bullish for all three of the reports we've read so far, but only two of them have given you bullish moves. So if the market is strong and Reddit isn't, there is an obvious two other names that you can jump into to look for that long trades: Robinhood and AppLovin. So pretty high priority on all three names tomorrow. Let's go take a look at Dutch Bros. I didn't even talk about levels. I mean, there is no real levels to talk about. Pre-market will be a lot more important. I'm expecting the stock to gap up a little bit higher. This move is like what, 17%? I guess I was expecting like more. I wouldn't be surprised if more comes into play in the pre-market, potentially somewhere in the crazy ranges if it comes into play in the pre-market. So far, looking at the earnings VWAP, obviously that's around $62. If earnings VWAP holds, I'll be interested in that. We also got this little pivot area on the 5-minute chart, that little swing low into $60.50. I'll just mark it up for myself right now, $60.50. So under 60, let's just, yeah, $60.50, $60. I mean, potato, right? So you're just kind of potato, okay? So as long as the stock is holding above 60 on pullbacks tomorrow, I'm basically looking long. Under, over, looking long if stock is holding above 60. Bang, there you go. Bros, BROS, Dutch Bros. Wow, okay, coffee company Dutch Bros. We're gonna be here all night, ladies and gentlemen, and my dog is downstairs playing games and having fun. I'm going to miss out on all that because I have to stream to I don't even know how many viewers, 2 viewers who don't even like watching me. So this is great. All right, let's go to Dutch Bros real quick. Dutch Bros reportedly 7 cents per share, beating estimates of 2 cents per share. 342 million versus 317 million, beating the same period last year. 252. Opened 32 new shops, 25 of them which were opened, which were company operated. During the fourth quarter, company operated shop revenues increased 38.2%, 314 million as of compared to 2. Okay, so growth overall. I'm not seeing the actual percentages. It'll be nice if there you go, 38% growth. Company operated shop revenues increased by that much. Delivered exceptional performance, impressive 35% revenue growth. Same store sales growth, or same shop, it's a tongue twister in itself, 6.9%. I'm pretty sure Starbucks is not doing this. We believe our brand is increasing over the last 2 years. Dutch Bros now sees fiscal 2025 revenue in the range of 1.5 to 1.57 billion. Ooh, okay. The total system, blah, 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 blah. Stock up 29%. Is that new all-time high on the stock over here? Let's go take a look at the stock. It is not. Oh, maybe it is. This was IPO. IPO range high. And, ooh, just shy. We're closing just shy of the all-time high, but the stock did make a new all-time high on the earnings push up to the north side. So pretty obvious at the moment, right? If the stock is not able to get above this area and hold above this area, I'm going to say just simple 80. For me, if the stock gets above 80 and starts holding above 80, it's almost a no-brainer long. You can put it as a resistance or an inflection level. I might even give this a high priority to purple because they are growing. It's a growth company and they are showing growth. They are back into their territories from where they were around IPO days. So if they are showing us some good strength above 80, if buyers are coming in and defending 80, I will gladly look for a long on this name. We are here, man, on the blockchains. I like that name. I don't know how you even got that. I guess you were pretty quick to the game on that one. Your subscribers now up very recently, 1.8k from 1.17k. I did notice that. Yes, thank you for pointing it out. Makes me happy. Makes me happy that the numbers are going up a little bit. Let's go back into reading. I guess I did read the report. 35% growth year over year. Stock back into its all-time high territories. I think it's a no-brainer at this point of what you're looking for, right? 83. I'll just say 84. 84, which is the after-hour high to keep an eye out for. But I wouldn't be surprised if the stock actually has a higher high in pre-market, at which point this resistance is basically turning into support. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. If that higher high comes into play in the pre-market, then on the dips, you're looking for stock to hold above 80 on dips after that, which makes our life even more easier. But if the stock is opening up in these ranges and then going into 80, you might want to wait a little bit above 80 to see buyers actually stepping up and defending 80. You might want to see a 15-minute, 30-minute hold above 80 if we're starting the day below 80. But if we're starting the day above 80 at $84 and then on the dip into 80 we're holding 80, you might not need 15-minute hold of 80. You might just need a quick 2-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute hold and then just enjoy that quick bounce V-shaped recovery off of 80 and potentially new highs coming into Dutch Bros. So we have a lot of stocks here with high priority names for tomorrow. Surprise, surprise. CSCO, Cisco. Why do all these charts look so good tomorrow? Okay, Cisco, not really a growth name. I mean, you know, they've been existing for God knows how long. Not really a growth name at all. But are they growing? And if they're growing by more than 20%, apparently a company is considered as a growth name. So it looks like the stock is growing by 29% year over year. AI infrastructure, the code names, the buzzwords are being thrown around, which is exactly what you want to see as an investor. Adopt best in class. Everyone says best in class, right? Best in class AI security, robust AI platform, blah 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 blah. But overall, women lie, men lie, words lie, but numbers don't lie. And if you can look at the numbers over here, 29% year over year growth for Cisco. And that's the only thing really that matters. So they are growing at the end of the day. Let's take a look at the outlook too. Third quarter coming into 90 cents to 92 cents versus estimates of 92. So high end is pretty much the estimate. Revenue of 13.9 to 14.1 versus 13.86. Low end is above estimate. Company expects fiscal 2025 EPS to be 3.68 to 3.74 versus 3.66, within range, or actually their low end is above estimates, and revenue 56 to 56.5 versus 55.98, also above estimate very slightly. At the time of the report, stock up 6.5% to the north side, and if you look at this, I would call that a beautiful bull flag for you to look for a breakout from there. Praying that the stock doesn't break out of this area in the pre-market and actually gives you a good blast off through 1650, but knowing, you know, the market, knowing how edges play out, they don't give you that opportunity, and that's a new all-time high, ladies and gentlemen. Even better of a trade over there on Cisco. So things just makes it even muito bueno. Is that how you say it? I'm not Spanish or Italian, whatever language that is, right? But this is amazing. What a beautiful level, what a beautiful pattern. Stock is currently holding above 66 on the anchored VWAP from earnings, and I'm gonna call that a beautiful support right there. I said beautiful like 10 million times already. Put that on a t-shirt. I'm expecting the stock to hold 66 on dips tomorrow, especially in the pre-market, and tomorrow pre-market we'll see if the stock starts to get above 67.15 or you know, gives us an opportunity to actually play long through that level. So many trades over here. Whichever one is exactly within the game plan that I'm already planned out for, if it's playing out exactly like that, I am ready to slam that trade tomorrow. MGM, why? I did look at MGM earlier. I remember I looked at MGM. I said unless it's higher than this area, I don't care. But it did go to 38. It's into this pocket of resistance now, and potentially going into a breakout on a decent earnings report. If not, then resisting off of this area continued expected. So this one's priority is a lot less at the moment, right? You can see how all of these stocks are either into a 52-week high or into an all-time high territories. MGM priority very, very little, almost not cared about MGM at all at the moment. Datadog reports tomorrow pre-market, if I remember correctly, but already making a little bit of a move in the after hours. You little dirty dog, you. Okay, Datadog. But watch tomorrow, Datadog, for tomorrow pre-market. Previously a good stock to trade on earnings report from what I remember. CYBR, CyberArk. Have never traded this name, but I looked at this chart and I kind of liked what the chart looks like. So if the stock reports well, you know, obviously look for a new all-time high. If not, potentially giving back some moves. John Deere, DE, another name to keep an eye out for. Croc, CROX. Just taking a look at the charts at the moment. I'm not really looking at levels on these stocks because tomorrow earnings reports, tomorrow pre-market, the levels are going to not even matter anymore. You're going to probably see the stock completely dislocate from the levels that you've mapped out already and go into new price ranges. But just showing you guys some of the names that are on the watch list to keep an eye out for that are reporting tomorrow pre-market. Now, Let's go down the watch list for stocks that have already reported this week or last week, starting with CVS, and we're going to rapid fire these to see if there's any actual trade opportunity. CVS into a new 52-week high, not really, but did make a monster recovery from this low that I remember marking down. This was like, 2019 lows. So monster recovery from the 2019 lows, almost a no-brainer long. You just had to buy that 43 long, and now it's at $63, right? Monster recovery from that 43 long just from December 2024 lows. Now the question is, does the stock have more juice off of this report? I don't think so. At least not for like a blast off day 2 day trade. It might have a blast off move slowly, right, over the next few weeks, next few months. I'm not expecting a big candle where the stock goes into the north side like this tomorrow. I'm just not seeing that come into play. So if the stock does pop into 64 today, potentially you could look for some exhaustion and some shorts to build into, but then those shorts will only give you a possible move into 62.50. So it's like, I'm not even sure that's a worthy enough of a trade. So for me, CVS as a day trade is not really as important. I think there's way better trades that we already talked about for tomorrow. So CVS just doesn't make the cut at the moment. VRT. Was looking for the long originally. Very choppy sideways action intraday. Didn't really do a whole lot, I guess. It went back and forth quite a bit. So if you know how to trade ranges, you are very happy with this stock. But if you weren't looking to trade the range, you were not happy with this name. So I think tomorrow, if the stock was a dud on day 1, it might be a dud for me on day 2. I think if you turn on the chart patterns, the candlestick chart pattern, that's not the one, that's the one. Oh, I thought that would be a doji, but looks like that is not a doji. Whatever, I don't care. But the story is lots of resistance on pops. The report wasn't bad, but found a lot of resistance on pops on VRT. So not really interested to look for the dip buy longs tomorrow on this one. SMCI. Me and my manager got into this one right off the open today. I kept trying to tell him, look, they didn't actually report, but they kept trying to tell me that they reported. And I'm telling them they didn't report, and they kept telling me, or he kept telling me they did report. And that was just a great start to the day. Anyways, had I just stuck to my original thesis of looking for a short on pops on this name, I would have absolutely slayed this name today. Hopefully at least had a monster short opportunity from $40 to $39. What is that, $42? Sorry, not even 49, $42 to $39. But I let other people's opinions sway my trade idea on this one. I did tell you guys to short every pop on this name. Hopefully you listen to me. My calls make other people money, not me ever. Never makes me money, but makes other people money. For example, I told you guys to buy NTES. And if you bought NTES, you are today up 3% richer. And if you bought NTES when I originally told you to buy NTES, you are 24% richer. So you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay? I even have a screenshot of the day where I told people to buy NTES. Okay? Boom. Alright. I'm saving that forever. Okay. SMCI. So the story for SMCI, they have to report on Feb 25th. They gave out preliminary reports, which I'm not gonna say that they actually reported, but prelim reports, whatever, we'll take it. Bullshit report. If the stock has buying, who am I to fight it? Who am I to fight it? I'm not an analyst, I'm a trader. So if it has buying, I'll look for the long. If it has selling on pops, I'll look for the short. Fairly simple. No real flat in the line levels that I'm looking at the moment. The stock has had a 3-day inside day, almost back to back days. So you can look at the bottom over there, the top over there. But if you just zoom out a little bit, you can see how there's a murky muddier top over here, a muddier bottom over here. So there's no real level in the sand. You're looking for patterns to play off of. You're looking for technical levels to play off of. Yesterday's low, yesterday's high, last week's low, last week's high, last month's low, last month's high, yesterday's VWAP, day one VWAP, earnings VWAP. So you're just kind of looking at all this tech levels to look to see how a pattern forms and then making a decision off of that. Or you can just choose to not damn trade that stupid stock, which is what I'm probably going to do tomorrow. Upstart had an exact reject of that area that we were talking about, but later on in the day popping back in and holding or trying to hold into the high end of that range and rejecting around $90 or $90.50, but looking like it wants to get above $90 on Upstart. So looking for day two type of opportunities, a dip into today's VWAP that potentially gets held and gets bought back so the stock can go higher. Can we get much higher? So let's see if today's dips get held on, tomorrow's dips get held around today's VWAP, which is right around, earnings VWAP is at 86.50. So watching to see 86.50 to see if it can have some buying on dips. Should I give it a purple respect tomorrow? I'll give it some respect tomorrow. I'll give it some respect. DoorDash did not hold above 200, but tomorrow it potentially could, right? But volume would be a lot lower. It's basically still 200 under over. If it's not holding above 200, I almost don't care about the trade on this name. Under over 200. LYFT stock bounced off of $12 and managed to hold $12.50 and continue to rally higher. I told you that report wasn't as bad as the move was. So it did give you a long. Sadly, $12 was a low, not $12.50 as I thought it would be. Stock opened a little bit lower, bottomed out into $12, and boy oh boy was that a nice long to the upside. Wasn't looking at it, probably will not be looking at it tomorrow either, knowing me. Just not interested to trade shop or lift as much. It's like a 50-cent ATR name if I remember correctly. 80-cent ATR, okay, whatever, but not really that excited to trade lift. Shopify day two, as day one was nothing burger, day two pretty much a nothing burger, so not a high priority name on the watch list, but still on the watch list nevertheless. A-Lab, same idea as Shopify. You can actually look at this chart on A-Lab and compare it to VRT. There are very similar patterns on VRT and on A-Lab. They both reported, they both got slammed to the downside, and they both potentially continuing lower. So VRT, that's why I don't want to fight the longs. A-Lab, you can see how I said I don't want to fight the long today, and that was the right idea. It is going into this buying pocket that can potentially have some sort of a bounce. So if it does have a bounce off of this pocket, it's worth watching to see how the stock behaves. So I'll put an alert down over here to see if we get an opportunity to look long in that pocket. AMZN, potential breakdown. I'm gonna have to delete some of these lines over here. Okay, potential breakdown below 228 on Amazon, especially if market's weak. I am liking that short. If Amazon is finding weakness under 228, potential move down to 226 or even lower, because Amazon looks to be now putting in the backside. We've been holding above the 5-day moving average for quite some time. We're trading around it in this area, but now clearly looks like it's either putting in the backside or creating some sort of a range and then blasting off to the upside. So if the backside is coming in, the stock should be unable to hold 228 on the bid when it breaks below, and that's my trigger to look for a short on Amazon. A firm recently reported earnings, blasted off to the north side, showing some buying on the dips, which is good, but volume really dying down on this name. So a firm is a little bit of a whippy name, you know, especially with lack of volume. So you might want to be careful looking for a trade, really explosive trade on a firm tomorrow. Unless there's volume, I might not be interested in a firm at all. We got a nice 3-day hold now on Roblox here above 63.50. If 63.50 is unable to show buying, that's almost a no-brainer short. Almost a no-brainer short there. Easy move back down to $60, I would expect. So let's see if that breakout comes into play on Roblox. Under over 63.50. ARM. Don't care. QCOM. Don't care. Uber. Uber was ridiculously strong today. Wow. Almost like a buy program kicked in, and it just never stopped going higher. Insane move to the upside. Had like a blow off top at $80. Was not able to continue going above 80. So you did get a quick dollar per share, 30 cents per share short opportunity. But still, like, what a monster move on Uber here. Right back into yesterday's highs. Right back into $80. So a couple of days ago I said Uber under over 80. You can kind of look at that level again as it's coming into play. Under over 80. If Uber gets above 80 and holds above 80 on the bid easily on any pullbacks, you might want to be looking long on that name at that point, because Bill Ackman announced that he is long. Uber doesn't really have any competition until BYD and Tesla comes in and disturbs their space, but until then they don't have competition. Really don't have competition. Waymo's a joke. Disney looking like it wants to bounce, but do I care? Google could have a good breakout long above that area, or not Google, sorry, AMD could have a good breakout long back through 113. What's the high on this day? 113 indeed. So watching AMD around 113 for a nice breakout opportunity back into the good territories. Intel, if you watch Intel, my god, what's going on with Intel here? Well, that's because JD Vance announced that USA is going to take after, or look after I should say, the American companies that create AI, that create chips. They're going to create chips in America, blah 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 blah. And that was good enough of a catalyst yesterday, and that was a good enough of a catalyst today. And you can see how Intel actually bounced right off of yesterday's VWAP. Picture perfect bounce off of yesterday's VWAP, and then just kept going higher and higher and higher. So I'm gonna actually have to go to my notes here real quick and put it in my notes to write up Intel. If I don't already have it in my notes to do that, I don't. So I'm gonna have to write up Intel, because that's a beautiful bounce off of day one VWAP. Day one, boom, bounce off of day one VWAP, and then giving you an insane long. I love it. I love it. Not really on my watch list, however. Potentially should be on my watch list, because that is back-to-back days where Intel has gone bonkers with good volume behind it. 160 million shares looking to take out a previous resistance. But the thing is, even if it takes out that previous resistance, you got other resistance pockets over here on Intel where we have seen Intel struggle at previously. Instead, I much rather look long on AMD or Nvidia. So I'm not really that interested on Intel at the moment. It's in the back of my head. I see it on the scanners pop up. If it does pop up on the scanners tomorrow, I might sneak it into my watch list without telling you. I might swerve, but no, I won't. I might swerve. No, I won't. All right. Google looking like it wants to get below 180, but Google's never been a fun stock for me to day trade. It's like once in a rare blue moon where it's actually a good stock to day trade. Until then, it's garbage. Snapchat, I'll just set an alert here into the 1035, 1040 lows. Whenever that low breaks, I'm interested for a breakdown low, but until then, not really anything to do on this. This could also be looked as a bouncy ball on the daily chart. So if the Snapchat actually breaks to the downside on the daily chart, gives you an intraday breakdown also, it's just a big trade opportunity that's setting up that I am for sure interested in. So Is that 1035? What's that low right there? It is 1035. Okay, so looking for 1035 breakdown on Snapchat whenever that sets up. I'm not saying it sets up tomorrow, whenever that sets up. And as I said, PayPal is going to break to the downside based on how it's setting up, and it did break to the downside. Nice little breakdown, and now we're waiting to see if these zones of pockets that I've mapped out for potential buying actually holds, or do we grow even lower? Do we go even lower? I don't see a trade for myself right now on PayPal, so moving past it. Spotify trying to break out of its all-time high again, but no volume, so it's going to be a slow mover. You're gonna have to be patient if you're trading Spotify. BBAI, let me talk about this one a little bit. People in a Discord server that I'm in, we're calling for a mean reversion short on BBAI, and I gave, you know, my detailed thesis as to why the stock is not overextended yet. But some people, I bet, doubted me. They thought probably I was wrong after these 2 days of downside move with lower volume. Okay, when real selling comes in, you will see volume get much bigger. Can I bring in like a small cap name here? I can't find it. But you'll see volume kind of get bigger on the downside, as now any buyers in this area is trapped. But if you bought at $6 and the stock is at $8, are you really scared about your long? Where is your stop on this long? Potentially $6.50, potentially $6. So until the longs are really trapped, I wouldn't really be too worried for a downside move just yet. And the stock is not that overextended on the daily either. It's only up 16% from its 5-day moving average. It was just recently at $5, and now it's only at $10. This could easily go to $15, $20 from what I've seen crazy stocks do before. So I'm just not that convinced that this is setting up for a big short just yet. And companies like these BBAI, SOUN, these AI related names in the small cap basket that have a high short float, that potentially, I don't know if BBAI has you know, an Nvidia partnership, but companies like SoundHound, there was one today, AIFF, not today but recently, announced the Nvidia partnership. They have a 50% short float. They don't have a big float either, right? So these companies, you don't really want to try to look for the top on them. Let the top actually show up. It looked like a little bit of the top was showing up, but boy oh boy, all the short sellers trapped, and now it's got a 22% short float, looking for the blast off, the short stops to trigger. The higher the stock gets above $10, the more interesting the stock gets for a possible explosion. $10 also is the SPAC merger level, which I think the stock was. If you zoom out a little bit, whenever a stock looks like this for a little bit of time, around $9, $10, $11, basically pivoting around 10, it's a SPAC merger. So BBAI, I'm expecting it's a SPAC merger. It's going back into that $10 SPAC area, and now potentially getting back above the $10 area. For an example, you can go take a look at SoundHound, right? Let's zoom out on SoundHound. Was SoundHound a legitimate IPO? Okay, but if you take a look at SoundHound, you know, their partnership with Nvidia kind of took them into the high sides. AIFF in that basket of stocks now. Their partnership with Nvidia now taking them back into $12, $10, and these guys have a pretty high short flow. But this one, I mean, very close to start looking for a mean reversion play on this one, trust me, because this is a little overextended. This is up 100% from its 5-day moving average. This is not in the same basket as BBAI. This stock was at $3 and is now at $10, not at $5, up at $10, and it also did not have any buildup while it ran up to the north side, whereas BBAI actually had a good buildup, a breakout, another buildup, another breakout, another buildup, another attempt at a breakout, and then we'll see if this has an actual successful continuation of the breakout. So I wouldn't look for a short on BBAI as much as I would look for a potential exhaustion, capitulation, mean reversion, whatever setup comes into play for a short on AIFF. But keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, you know, these are the names that you can get easily rolled over, especially when names announce a partnership with Nvidia. Their short flow was actually a little bit higher than today, which is at 14.85%. What, are you fucking kidding me? That's bullshit. Their short flow yesterday was 58%. Their short flow yesterday was 58%. What, the numbers completely changed? Okay, no, there are the same numbers. Okay. So market cap now 104 million from yesterday, 67 million. Short float now 58% instead of 14%. Looks like a lot of shorts covered or either blown out, or these are the new updated numbers. And you can see how the float hasn't really increased. Looks like the stock might do dilution very soon, so be careful for that if they end up getting into that territories. So if they do dilute, you might want to filter for the stock AIFF dilution, stock offering, and see how it reports. And then on that report, it'll possibly go to the downside. So AIFF on the watch list over here for a possible mean reversion. Okay, Palantir. I mean, if you're telling me that doesn't look like a possible breakout above 120, I don't know what to tell you. So watching 120, even though 120 is not the high, 118.55 or 118.66 is actually the high. Maybe I should put 120 as the inflection level instead of the resistance, and 180.66, which is actually the high, will be the resistance as it should be. So we'll put that on watch. We'll put that shit on everything, as they say with sriracha sauce, right? We'll put that shit on everything. We'll see if Palantir can actually do something with that. All right, let's talk about the market. We had CPI today. The market had a hotter than expected CPI report. However, that sell-off for that initial reaction got matched with a decent amount of buying, where the stock market actually ended green. Okay, so worse than expected CPI report. QQQ ends green. S&P 500 ends red. IWM I think ends red. Dow Jones also ends red. DIA ends also red on the day. For QQQ is actually the only one who's positive. But if you take a look at it on a larger scale, I mean, it's like a tiny dot, and it's basically the Milky Way galaxy in the universe. It doesn't matter, right? This one day has no impact on the market at all today. So CPI did come out a little bit hotter, but the market did not care about it. Market bought up the reaction, bought up every single dip, and just kept going higher and higher and higher to the point where the Qs turned green. So we'll see if the market has, as I have seen this before, if we reverse today's move and go right back into today's low, or do we actually have this as a juice to go higher tomorrow. And tomorrow we have a couple important numbers also coming out, so this will be something to keep an eye out for a potential reversal or a potential blast off into a new all-time high territory. I don't think we'll see that anytime soon, but you know, we'll see. Continuous jobless claims 8:30, core PPI 8:30, initial jobless claims 8:30, PPI 8:30, C30 or bond auction at 1 o'clock, and looks like that's basically the only thing that we have to care about. So 8:30 or 1 o'clock. Fairly simple. 8:30 numbers, PPI, and the jobless claims, and then 1 o'clock you have the bond number potentially moving the market based on that reactionary economic event. So be careful as to what could potentially happen around those time periods. Now we get to go talk about tomorrow's IPO. Let's go to the IPO calendar. Only one IPO, or is it two? We have two IPOs tomorrow, AARD and SAIL. So let me throw in insert above, SAIL on NASDAQ. AARD also on NASDAQ. We got this one at $16 to $18. So 16 to 18. We got this one at 21 to 23. 21. 50 million shares being offered. Not that I have to put it in my notes, but why not, since we're doing it anyways. Offer amount was that much. Offer amount is that much. All right, now let's actually go take a look at AARD first, because I kind of took a little bit of a sneak peek at SAIL already before the stream, and I was very excited about SAIL. So I want to keep that one for the last, because best things last, right? So let's take a look at Aardvark Therapeutics, established 2017, biotechnology, 8 employees. Clinical stage biopharma. Do I even care? Oh, phase 3. Okay, maybe we do care. Hypothalamic obesity resultant from treatment of craniophrynogioma. Jesus, man, who makes these words? Okay, clinical 3 is not bad. If I remember correctly, we've actually taken a look at what these clinical stages mean, and phase 3 is actually almost at the end of the clinical studies, and they are about to go into actually, making money and selling their drug if everything goes well. So we'll see how they come out with their reports eventually. But as an IPO, these stocks don't really get me too excited, but SAIL is an exciting company. Now look at the deal size, $1 billion, $1 billion with a B, 50 million shares being offered to the market. It's a software application technology company in the technology sector, 2,645 employees, founded in 2025. SailPoint delivers solutions to enable comprehensive identity security for the enterprise. Our software as a service and customer hosted offering leverages intelligent and analytics to provide organizations with critical visibility into which identities currently have access to which resources, which identities should have access to those resources, and how that access is being used. Who the fuck wrote this? What the heck? Who wrote this? Okay. Anyways, our solutions enable organizations to establish control and automate policies that help them define and maintain a robust security posture and achieve regulatory compliance. I still don't understand what you do. Provide organizations with critical visibility into which identities currently have access to which resources and which identities should have access to those resources. Eight employees, what are they working out of their garage? Hey man, don't knock it. Amazon was 1 employee working out of his mom's garage. Alright, don't knock it. SailPoint, however, SailPoint's growth year over year is actually bonkers. Look at the growth, 152% growth year over year. 2023 they had 276 million revenue. 2024 they had almost $700 million in revenue. They're expecting 824 over here for the next one. So the growth is actually insane. However, the growth kind of diminishes really quickly if 824 is only the number that they are expecting to show. I am still very confused to what SailPoint actually does. So let's go take a look at what this company does. Austin, Texas provides identity management and governance for unstructured data access. Anybody got that? Who are your competitors? OKTA, Splunk, CyberArk who reports tomorrow pre-market. Okay, so a little bit of AI stuff, machine learning, integration, centralized visibility, whatever that means. Identity IQ, an identity and access management platform for your complex enterprises. Atlas, a secure identity platform. So basically, it's a software technology tool that will allow you to separate the managers, the coders, the slaves, the QA monkeys, the marketing team, and then it can then, you can choose what access each person has. For example, a back-end developer does not need access to the front end, and a front-end developer does not need access to the back end, and things like that, I guess, is what SailPoint actually helps you access and create channels for. If that's what it's doing, I don't know if this company is even needed, but who am I to say that, right? Who am I to say that? If they're growing 152% on a year-over-year basis, then I am expecting the stock to open up at a way higher price range. 21 to 23 is what they are currently expected to open, but I'm expecting them to open somewhere above north of $30 and a little bit of a hype to be behind this IPO. The most recent hyped IPO besides this, I can't remember. I remember there was one, T-Tam, but it was pretty shit. Let's take a look at January, because I remember there was a big one in January. CSAI? What? Oh yeah, canceled. $3 billion canceled. That's a $5 billion. DXST? What? When did these even? Oh, that's $5 million. There we go. VG. Did I trade VG? I think I remember trading VG. Yes, I remember trading VG. SFD, I remember trading that for sure. And then the rest of them. MTSR, I remember keeping an eye on it. That one was boring. It did nothing. So IPO is one of my most profitable setups. I'll for sure keep an eye on that stock. SAIL. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the stream today. Hopefully you found some levels, some trade opportunities, some setups for yourself to dive into and make some money tomorrow. I wish you guys the best. I wish you guys the best. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, all the fun stuff, and check out my affiliate sponsors: Flash Research, Trade Ideas, TraderSync, and Benzinga. Get 10% off on Flash Research or Benzinga using my link in my Linktree page, or get 15% off by using my code PRAD15 on TraderSync and on Trade Ideas, or you can also click the link on those pages. I will be now heading out. Time to roll in the outro. That means good luck. Catch you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Peace. Get ready for the watch list for tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm gonna bring in my big screen over here. Back to another brand new week of After the After Hours with your host TraderPrad. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are joining me on that great side. Markets are moving around. Might just be a risk on type of day, so let's see what happens. 8 o'clock tomorrow. As you guys know, we do the stream Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m. Shout out to my affiliate sponsors: Benzinga, Trade Ideas, the #1 scanner to go to, TraderSync, promo code down below, promo code PRAD15 to get 15% off. I will catch you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock, same time, same place. Until then, TraderPrad out. Adios.